Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Jim, and about 2 hours ago, or 10 p.m. Eastern Time, the Doom multiplayer beta servers went up, and we were all able to dive in and experience Doom on our own. Now, it is a little bit different than what was shown to us at Bethesda's E3 press conference, which is to be expected. And I thought rather than me just sit and talk to you guys, I would actually show you guys some gameplay and do some voiceover. So without further ado, here is my initial impressions of the Doom multiplayer beta. Enjoy. So Doom multiplayer is very similar to a lot of other multiplayer games that I've played. It doesn't really do any one thing exceptionally well or exceptionally poor, but I wanted to show you guys some of the gameplay so you can be the judge for that yourself. In between modes, or just when you're setting up your game for the first time, you have a fully customizable armory, which includes your helmet, your torso, left and right arms, legs, and base armor. And here you can select different pieces of armor for different parts of your body, so you're not limited to a single look for your entire character. Color schemes do carry across, however, but in terms of the look of each individual piece of armor, that is something that I like that Doom did, where you have the ability to get very customizable with each piece of gear that you have. You earn gear after each match. It just seems to be random to me. I haven't really seen much of a reason. If you're like really hunting for a piece of gear, it just kind of happens as you play matches. You'll unlock different things. They may flesh that system out further. It may be something similar to Halo's requisition system, where you earn credits based on gameplay performance, and you can cash those in for chances it drops. But for right now, it's seemingly random. Weapons are very similar in the sense that you have 5 or 6 different weapons that you can select from. As you go up in rank, you can customize your loadouts, but the actual weapon skins and all that kind of stuff seem to be standard. I didn't notice any of that. So it's very, everybody's rocket launcher looks the same. And I think that may be something they may flesh out in the future. It'd be kind of silly to have a fully customizable character system and that the guns are very standard. But that aside, I have to say, one other thing since it just popped up. You also have a hack that you get. A hack is a perk that you get that persists through death and can be reset by finding items and that sort of thing. It could be something as simple as getting a small amount of armor at the beginning of your loadout, or showing you enemy health, or showing you the timers of unique drops on the ground. So you have those hacks with you as well. Okay, so that is the core loadout system. As you guys can see by some of the gameplay that I am showing you guys in the background, I am no pro, by the way. This game looks jaw-droppingly gorgeous. It is one of the prettiest games I have seen on the PlayStation 4 in quite some time. The fact that it runs at 60 frames a second is testament to how refined this engine is. And I think back to the days that I was growing up when I started to learn how to play first-person shooters, and I got really good at them, at least on the PC, was during the Quake 3 days, and obviously made by the same people. And that game was very well optimized for its time, and it ran very well, and I would expect nothing less. Doom 3 may have been some sort of fluke in the series, because the graphics were well done, but they weren't nearly as optimized as I'm seeing this generation. So I'm sure they're using different engines and that sort of thing. But some of the detail that goes on into this game is incredible. A lot of particle effects, a lot of smoke, a lot of really nice shadow effects. You'll notice my gun, the barrel of my gun as I run around, depending if I'm next to the lava or if I'm next to some of these light switches or walls on the ground, or even when I'm being shot at, you can see that gun reflect everything around it, and it really sets a really cool visual. The other character models look okay. They seem a little twitchy to me. This reminds me a lot of the speed and pace of the Unreal Tournament games, where it's very fast-paced. There really is no dedicated sprint button because you're always in fast motion. Now, there has been some criticism already that I have seen that people feel the game is not fast enough for a Doom game. I think the speed is all right, at least on the console. Maybe the PC may get a slight change, or maybe just because of the higher frame rate a PC can support, it may look a little bit differently. But I feel like the pacing of the game is very frantic, very quick, and I guess that's kind of what they're really shaping Doom multiplayer to be. You know, it's going to be a little bit different than, again, the tone from Doom 3, where everything was very slow and methodical and brooding, and you had your flashlight and you walked around corners very slowly. Here in this game, it seems like it's going to be full motion, you know, full speed, balls to the wall kind of thing, just run around like a madman, and that's okay. The other thing you guys will notice is that they have added damage numbers to the top of your shots. So when I'm hitting a guy with a rocket launcher, you're seeing the damage pop up. Now everybody has their health and their armor, and you could see mine in the bottom left. So you have to kind of chew away at that before you can take somebody out. But it's interesting that they went this route where you have this game that has amazing visuals and really detailed, you know, I mean, I really feel like part of this environment. I mean, I don't know how well it translates onto onto what I've recorded for you guys, but it's the way. I haven't gotten to the sound yet either, but just the ambiance that you're presented with is very realistic. And then to include these damage numbers, it's something similar to what the Division did, and I think a lot of people were kind of confused. I don't really care one way or another. The only thing I can say I do like about the damage indicators is it lets me know what guns are really good and which ones aren't so good. Even with the rocket splash damage, I'm doing about a third damage on their health, as opposed to the lightning gun, I was only doing 2 to 3 damage consistently, and it just didn't seem as powerful. And I switched away from the lightning gun, and I have switched away from the lightning gun now since I've been playing for quite some time. Since I've recorded this is one of my earlier gameplays. Because of that very reason, I didn't find it was very powerful. So, yes, I know they're going to do gun balancing. That's not the point. But the point is you do get a little bit of, you know, variety. Something I'll talk about since it just happened is there are these power-ups on the map. And you could see that you can actually become a demon for a short amount of time. Now, basically, it's the power-up on the ground, and you pick it up and you transform into this demon. He's got a jetpack and these 2 rockets, and he's very, very powerful. If someone were to kill me while I was a demon, you see I have 19 or 18 seconds left in the bottom center of the screen. That token would drop, and somebody could pick it up and continue to be the demon for the remainder of the time. So these power-ups that come, it's going to be a factor in the game for the next whatever long it is, and then it's gone. It's very unsimilar to other games where if somebody gets it, you can kind of essentially burn down that character quickly and burn down that power-up if you couldn't get to it in time. In this one, it's going to be persistent throughout. There are gun spawns. I don't have any in this particular map that I get to, but there are unique gun spawns that are similar in nature. Anyways, to wrap up with the number thing on top of people's heads, it's something, again, the Division has done, Destiny's done it. It seems to be the route of more shooters going that way. I would like to see an option where it's at least turned off. I think it would help with the immersion a lot more, where people could just enjoy it. But me personally, it doesn't bother me. It just kind of lends itself to this being more of an RPG, and it's really not. So, sound and overall, sound effect design and everything. I like the sound effects that I heard. I feel that each gun definitely has a distinct sound and somewhat of a feel to it, instead of just, a lot of these games have this tendency to give us this weird first-person view where the gun just kind of floats in the air and it doesn't really feel like you're using it. To me, certain guns, at least with my subwoofer on, definitely felt throatier than others. The Super Shotgun comes to mind as one of the more powerful weapons that felt powerful in the game. The overall narrator, though, there's a narrator that's talking in the background, and he is very out of place with what the game is. I hope that that's a placeholder. It reminds me a lot of what Peter Dinklage brought to Destiny, and I remember one of the very first videos I did on YouTube, actually, where I talked about my thoughts on the Destiny Alpha. I commented that I'm sure this is just a placeholder because they didn't have time to finish doing what they needed to do. Clearly, I was wrong on that. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm right here, and I hope this is just a placeholder because the narrator sounds very weak and not very interested in what is going on in the game. There's a lot of power-ups in the game that's similar to what Doom is in terms of running around and getting chunks of armor and chunks of health and that sort of thing. But if you'll see that you die so quickly, even the times where I kind of purposely avoid combat and go around and try to, bulk up in terms of overall armor rating and health, it doesn't really seem to make too much of a difference because you're just burned down so quickly. I think that has a lot to do with the pace of the game. So it is kind of neat to have all these little nooks and crannies for different pieces of gear, but ultimately it didn't really seem to make much of a difference to me in terms of my play style. Like I said, I died so quickly. I didn't get a chance to do it, but you'll probably notice other people in the background. Very similar to the E3 trailer. If you do get somebody to low health, you can actually melee them, and you'll do a special kill animation. It's very, very brief. Snapping somebody's neck or punching them really hard or something like that. And you do get additional points for that. There's medals. You'll see medals pop up for different things that I do. You'll get medals for comeback kills and that sort of thing. So in that sense, it's very similar to other games. At the end of each level, your medals count up and they give you a total number of points and experience and that sort of thing, which ultimately helps you level up. So far, only things that allow you in the this beta here, the only thing that levels matter is they allow you to get other custom unlocks in terms of allowing you to even customize your loadout. You get one loadout at a certain level, and other levels you get additional loadouts. Additionally, there are some guns that are locked, like the lightning cannon or thunder gun, I think they call it. You don't get that until level 3 or 4, so you have to kind of work your way up. But outside of that, I haven't seen much need yet for the experience system. And again, since gear is completely randomly dropped, it doesn't really matter too much right now. So those are just a high-level overview of the game. The multiplayer, I think, is getting there. I can't say it's as fun to me yet as what Halo 5 Guardians brings to the table. That's kind of my gold standard right now. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and I'll definitely be getting the collector's edition for PC, so if nothing else, I'll be enjoying the single-player experience. Multiplayer, I don't know. I think it needs a little bit more work. As always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.